Hi everyone, we are live. Welcome. Thanks for joining. I'm, as always, very excited to have this presentation, and we are continuing our journey into fitness mindset. And today I really want to talk to you about a subject that I think is very important, especially for people that want to start their fitness routine after a break and they don't know where to start. And this is because sometimes the difficulty when starting something after a long break, or even starting something from the beginning as a new hobby or a new sport, is what I find difficult is exactly know where to start from. What level should you start from? And this is all about assessing yourself and your fitness level. And it's not only you who should be doing that as maybe a client or a new beginner in this sport. It's also up to coaches that are around you and who can assist you in this quest. Because especially when you are a beginner, it's very difficult to know what are the necessary steps that will bring you closer to your specific goals. And if you have already saw some of my videos in the past, well, you know how important setting goals is and how important it should be for you as well, because when you have a target in mind, well, then that's the moment where you can actively work towards that goal without counting on your motivation, but also counting on something else, such as, for example, consistency. And for me, consistency is really important, because that's the way to make gains. That's the way to achieve something, by showing up, being motivated, and feeling connected to your goals more than to your motivation. And motivation can go up and down. You lose it pretty fast depending on your mood. Depending if you have eaten well, if you're tired, if you have slept well, depending on your relationship with your relatives, let's say. Whereas consistency is there always. Like, no matter what happens with me in my life, in my profession, in every aspect of my life, I need to show up. I am responsible to myself in making progress, and because I know there is a particular target that I want to achieve, well, I'll be working towards that goal. Because at a higher level, especially in fitness, and that happened to me a lot in my powerlifting journey before I became a medalist at bench press at a national competition. Well, when you start becoming better and better, you know that if you're missing a session or two, or a week or two, we are going to lose your gains. So what happened in my case was, I was booking during that period of time where I was like really training. I used to actually book my hotels based on whether there is a gym or not in the surrounding area. And so, once again, at the professional level, you make your life turn around that goal. But at the beginner level, that's not the case. Nevertheless, being able to assess yourself is definitely going to help into knowing how to properly start, what things to avoid, and usually avoiding comes in the form of risking yourself to injury, or maybe even frustration, and unexpected situations that occur. And I hope you know what I'm talking about here. So my presentation today is just around this topic. I want to give you a bit of a context. Why do I talk about this? Why do I recommend assessing your fitness? What is the importance of assessing your fitness? how to assess your fitness level in general, why is it important as you saw, and what are the benefits. And I think anyone should start with an open mind whenever they want to do something new, because being new at something means that you are open to learning quicker, so you don't have your patterns set in place very well. But it also means that it is way easier for you, who doesn't have the knowledge of and the right approach to that particular sport, in taking directions that are not beneficial to your games or to your routine in general. And so, just before starting, a bit about myself. Well, I have been training for different types of competitions. 2 years ago, it was for powerlifting. Last year, it was for weighted calisthenics. And I qualified among the first 15 or 20 people at my category on weighted calisthenics or weighted street lifting. This year I am prepping for a marathon, and all my life I was attracted by doing some sorts of movement and sports. And so through my experience, I learned how to understand and learn things about my body, which initially were not intuitive, but now are, just because I have passed so many years. I have spent so many years into developing this fine sense of being more in tune with my body, of feeling when I push it too hard, of understanding how to actually make an effort that can be beneficial. And so lately I am super interested in more functional training, meaning just preventing injuries and being stronger in parts of the bodies where usually people don't actually work too much, such as, let's say, for shoulders. Like my best preferred exercise right now would be OHP, or overhead press, where you don't reach this position very often. So I encourage people to start training whatever type of movement or fitness they are doing. That's a good thing, because we are human beings and we like to move, and not moving means actually having our muscles that atrophiate and will not be able to do their function long term. And this is where prevention is super important, and I like doing that with my clients. But what I see actually with my clients as well is the fact that whenever they start a particular fitness routine, or whenever they want some programs to work on, before being my clients, they try some sorts of methods, just picking an area that they like a lot, and find a sort of a program online and start doing it. But this actually does not cater for their current fitness level. Because I do have people that in the past, I have clients that in the past have done triathlons, and or like big tours in bicycle. Like, they are super motivated to get in shape after 10 or 20 years of a break. And they have this memory of themselves being so top peak and being so good, that they actually have the impression that even though the time has passed, well, their body was not affected by this time, or by the fact that they were more sedentary than before. And that's unfortunate, because they start having high expectations and unrealistic expectations sometimes about their goals that they want to achieve, and the amount of time that is usually very short. And so I am here whenever I'm creating a personalized program. I am giving assistance to them with respect to these expectations. Usually I have a form they fill out, and they actually enjoy a lot learning more about their goals, just because it's important to know what you want to do and what you want to achieve, and in what amount of time. But usually this amount of time is a bit unrealistic. People often expect too much from themselves when they start exercising again after a break. They want quick results without realizing that their body might need some time to get back in shape. And that's completely normal. Don't pressure yourself because of that. It's absolutely normal to have a sort of a period of time where you need to get back on track. People want usually quick results without realizing that their body, as I said, might need to get in shape. So it's important to understand that you may need to work your fitness gradually before going all in on a specific goal. So I have a client right now who has made a lot of bicycle tours around big cities and departments and regions here in France. And his goal is to actually climb Mont Blanc in like the highest peak of the Alps in 3 years. And so that's a great goal. But before starting to prepare for that particular goal, we need to assess what is the current fitness level that this individual has, so we know if starting working directly on that goal is feasible, or do we need a certain amount of training before just to condition his body for the type of training that is required so that he's able to climb Mont Blanc. So that's something that it's great for you to want and to push yourself, but if you have high and unrealistic expectations because you did not assess yourself very well, you are up for a bit of a frustration with respect to that. So that's one of the reasons why I do recommend to assess your fitness, because assessing your fitness is going to take off those types of high or unrealistic expectations. Another reason is that if you don't assess yourself, you tend to neglect post-break adaptation. Many people don't realize that their body needs time to get used to exercise again after a break. And not only that, their body needs time to get used to a particular exercise, no matter if you have been on a break or not, because every exercise solicitates different types of muscles who might have not been solicited for a while time. So even if you're constant in your fitness, you do need sometimes to give your body time to adapt on, for example, program changes. And so as time goes by, without being active, age can also play a role. Ignoring this can slow down progress and make you feel frustrated or unmotivated. And we don't want that. We don't want you to be frustrated and motivated when you're starting a fitness journey, because you are starting it to get in shape, but ideally would be to start it to have fun while you know that you're working towards your goal of getting in shape. So for me, mindset is extremely important, and I cannot emphasize enough on how important to prepare someone in a good fitness mentality or approach is in general. And so you don't want to neglect that post break adaptation, as you don't want to self-impose yourself and pressure yourself, because lots of people put too much pressure on themselves to reach big fitness goals quickly. They think they have to go all out right from the start instead of taking it slow and steady. So they would say like, oh, I am starting this new program, I'd better show up every moment, every minute, be 100% of the time there, ready and up for the challenge. But remember, just getting started is already a big achievement, and this prepares you mentally for what's ahead. If you remember my previous video on bringing into consciousness this idea or quote that I like to say, better done than perfect, you would see that putting pressure on yourself by delivering good quality sessions and showing up all the time is a path to sometimes failure, if you don't have your life to accommodate for those particular goals. So it's better to show up once per week at the gym than not at all, because you wanted to show up 5 times per week at the gym, but just you couldn't keep it up, right? So once again, setting goals is important, but what is important is not to put pressure on yourself when you want to achieve these goals. Just give more time, be more patient, be friendlier with you, and you will see that just showing up is already a big part of the deal. Consistency is always more important than intensity. And so I prefer being consistent every week than just being intense 5 times per 1 week and then not do anything at all. So once again, that's something that is very important. Please don't hesitate to think about it. Should I go for a walk 10 minutes per day every day, or should I just go 30 minutes per month, right? It's about being consistent, because results will show up when you are consistent. I just don't want to repeat myself, but this is an important point. Self-imposed pressure is something that determines a lot of people to quit their program that they're starting because they were so motivated and then they don't feel like it. And so the last point here, of course, this is not exclusive. I recommend assessing your fitness, and that's like the most important one of them, because if you don't assess your fitness well, or your coach doesn't, you risk to have injuries. You risk to push yourself to the limit. And because you don't always have the feeling of the exercises or the connection with the muscles, well, it means that you might force yourself more than your body can hold, and because you are just hyped up and full of energy and adrenaline in that particular moment, you might not feel that actually your body is suffering. So when people push themselves too hard because of self-imposed pressure, what I said just before, they are more likely to get hurt, and that's what everyone should be avoiding. It's better to listen to your body and progress at a pace that's right for you. So being patient and kind to yourself, and I cannot emphasize that enough, while trusting the process is key to long-term success. And so here there are the reasons why assessing, and I just see I made an error here. I'm sorry. So yeah, assessing yourself is super important. Okay, yeah, let's move on then, and just forget about that awkward slide I just had. Let's talk about why is this important. Like, I am explaining why I recommend that, but I just want to go through these ideas once again for you to better understand them, because assessing your fitness level is crucial in starting any exercise routine. You want to prevent injury and overexertion, that's for sure. So proper assessment helps you identify any weaknesses that you have in the body, any imbalances or limitations. And by understanding what your current fitness level is, you can tailor your workouts to address these areas. And so reducing the risk of injury and fatigue would be the result of being able to assess yourself well. For example, if you discover muscle imbalances or flexibility issues during just like taking a look at how you feel yourself, stretching yourself, and in what positions can your body put itself, well, you can incorporate specific exercises or stretches to address them before they lead to injury. And so a lot of times there is one part of the body that is a bit stronger than the other one. You might be interested in actually working a bit more on the weaker side, or if you see that you have never enjoyed putting things up, um, you might see that maybe strengthening your shoulders is a good thing, right? All sorts of things that can show you that whenever you're starting a routine, you're working towards prevention of injury, you're working towards feeling better in your body, and actually functioning better overall. Okay, setting realistic goals, that's something that I already discussed a lot, because setting realistic goals is going to help you actually start your program with a realistic approach, and with goals that are achievable. And so assessing your fitness provides a baseline from which to set realistic expectations. It allows you to understand where you currently stand and what improvements you can realistically expect over time. So that's why I'm saying, if you have done a triathlon like 20 years ago, don't come back with the same expectation that you would have done triathlon 3 months ago, because time sometimes is not our friend from this perspective. And so if you have a big break where your muscles are not conditioned anymore, well, that would be difficult for you to do. So instead of wanting to do a triathlon in a couple of months, maybe just start preparing with small incremental steps, so that you arrive at a good physical level of an average person who has never done a triathlon before jumping into the next step. That's why I usually think that CrossFit is a great sport, but is a sport that is very prone to injury, just because a lot of people are not being prepared properly to do such an amount of effort within a very limited time. And so setting realistic goals also means that maybe you are going to know a bit more about your body's potential and limitations, and you are going to work more like preventing it more in this context. Okay, tracking progress effectively is something that I really like, because this is the way I'm motivating myself. So whenever I have a particular goal, I need to track progress in a sort of a quantifiable way, just because it will show me where was I 1 month before and where am I now. Have I observed progress in terms of time, in terms of number of reps, in terms of weights, or not? If I haven't seen any progress, that it means that maybe I'm not doing something properly, right? I'm doing something wrong, because I don't see progress and I still feel the same as I did 1 month ago. I feel either weak or as newbie at these exercises and on a particular program as I was 1 month before. So you always need to see progress, and progress needs to be tracked and quantified. And you need to progress slowly but effectively. You know what they say, like slow and steady wins the race. You want to be that slow and steady tortoise. So regular assessment usually allows you to track your progress accurately and objectively. And by comparing current assessment results, either you're writing them on paper because you're following a program, either because you feel yourself stronger. Well, by assessing these results to the previous ones that you had, let's say 1 month before, you can see how your fitness level has improved over time. And I cannot tell how rewarding it is to actually feel empowered because you made progress. It's such a great feeling, and I recommend that. You have achieved something. You're on the right track. Have you only gained a couple of more reps in the tank at the end of the month? That's a great outcome. There are professionals that are training for months just to see 0.5 kilo improvement on a particular exercise. But for the rest of us who are not always professionals, well, there are quick gains that you can do. And that's why I'm saying don't be perfect about it. Just do it. Done is better than perfect. You'll see results anyways. And so I hope, for example, that this is quite clearly like if you notice improvements in cardiovascular endurance or strength after several weeks of training, depending on your goal, you'll know that your efforts are paying off and can adjust your workouts accordingly, meaning you are going to increase incrementally and easily the number of reps or the weights or the time or things that you're working on. And that's what I'm usually doing with my clients. I take a look at how they are practicing an exercise, and I can estimate based on that if I need to increase or not the weights. But sometimes I'm there for my clients just for this accountability, because giving a program that is personalized is something very, very helpful. But being able to follow through, because at the end of the session, there is a teacher or a coach that expects from you the videos or the results. Well, accountability for them is pretty important. And for me too, accountability is important, because I have done so many things with coaches that I wouldn't have done without them. So accountability is very important. And then it's not only this, it's also the fact that a coach has acquired experience of programming and adapting and personalizing programs over years and years of experience, whereas your interest might not be around that. You just need a quick solution and a program that is adapted to your case, without you needing to put in so many hours of learning how to fine-tune every type of exercise based on your body's morphology, for example. And I feel the need to take like a long break here. But in summary, assessing your fitness level is, as I said, essential for preventing injury, setting realistic goals, and tracking progress effectively. You can do it, your coach can do it, but don't start a program without doing it unless it's for a grandma fitness level, right? Because it's better safe than sorry. You would like to start a very, very easy program and see that you can do it, rather than start a very difficult one and then risk to have injuries or be so tired and without any sort of energies or life that you just want to quit it altogether, right? So you also need to find ways to keep yourself motivated, and I think assessing your fitness level leads to this helping you more in staying true to your consistency over the time. Okay, so we discussed about why I recommend assessing your level, why actually I think this is always important. And now the question is around how to assess your fitness level. Because I said you can do it, your coach can do it, but what exactly does it mean? So let's dissecate a bit more the subject around that, because I think assessing your fitness level doesn't have to be complicated, and this is my simple guide to help you understand where you stand. You would like to actually start reflecting on what your lifestyle looks like. So for example, if you want to start a new fitness routine, just take a moment, really take a moment, and think about your daily activities, exercise habits, and overall lifestyle, right? Like, are you sedentary? Do you walk a lot? What sorts of physical activities are you doing? Because if you're not doing anything and you're just like at 2,000 steps per day at the end of the day, well, maybe you wouldn't want to start a weightlifting program where you would like force yourself too much at the beginning, right? So consider how often you engage in physical activity, whether it's walking, playing sports, or going to the gym, if this is the case, or even mowing the lawn. And reflecting on your lifestyle from this perspective can actually give you insight into your general level of fitness and activity. So, just by seeing if you actually are moving or not, you can already assess your fitness level. If you're moving a bit more, well, then actually it means that you might be able to run more or to do more bicycle stuff. But if you're not doing that, well, actually that's a problem. And you might just want to start with something simpler that just gets you in that space of uh, moving, because you are accustomed to moving in general. So yeah, that's an alternative. Listen to your body. That's also something important. I see in the gym a lot of people that don't do that. Unfortunately, you need to pay attention to how you feel during everyday tasks and physical activities, not only in the gym. So, do I have difficulties washing laundry, or just like taking taking the food out of the fridge, or waking up, or just like uh, I don't know, making the fire or things like that, just to give you an example. Notice if you get out of breath easily, like do I have difficulties when I'm climbing the stairs, like my 20 stairs in total? Um, do I experience any sort of muscle fatigue? Is this quickly? Or do I struggle with flexibility and mobility altogether? Because these are factors that are going to make your progress slower, and are going to actually risk determine risk injuries if you're starting from a level that it's too high, in comparison to what you should be starting with. So these observations can provide clues about areas where you might need to improve your fitness. And contrary to the belief that, well, if I'm in pain in a particular area, I shouldn't actually use it at all. Well, I recommend using it, but using it in an intelligent manner where you work the muscles around that pain area, and where you are very strategical about exercises. Because if you're not using that particular area, you are actually not going to stimulate muscles and blood flow, and that can lead to atrophy, for example. So I always encourage to work areas that have been previously not very stable or that are weak, but to do it in a manner that doesn't put you at risk at all. So here is where I usually would recommend a coach that can assist with this situation. I had myself some injuries. I sprained my ankle for like 5 times, and I know how difficult it is to get in shape after this. But the last time when I did it, because I fell off a bouldering wall right on it, it took me a couple of months of rehabilitation where I was actively working towards reinforcing the muscles in the area where my tendons were ripped off. So like they were not completely ripped off, but just partially. But it was a pretty bad injury that I really didn't want to have like any injuries in the world for anyone. But it taught me a good lesson about how to be patient with recovery and how to be consistent in putting in the work to reinforce that area that needs help. So yeah, assess, listen to your body, and try to focus on areas that are weak, because those ones should be the first ones that are being treated, so that you become stronger overall, if this makes sense for you. Okay, number 3, assess your strength and stamina. Here I just have an example about you trying to figure out how easily you can perform common physical tasks such as carrying groceries, climbing stairs, or lifting objects. And I would recommend you to consider whether you feel strong and capable in these activities, or if you struggle or feel fatigued. Because if you struggle and feel fatigued, well, here there is your one of the first exercises that you are going to do in the gym or outside or in your house. Just being more consistent at doing things that are creating a bit of a strain on your body. So that's how I actually started to prep for a marathon, because I needed to have a break for a couple of years, like 2 years. I was focusing on strength sports a bit more than on cardiovascular or endurance sports. And after 2 years of prepping for weightlifting or powerlifting and weight street lifting, I saw that my endurance was not like in top shape. And that was the moment for me where I had a click and just figured that I should be working on that. So yeah, that's the moment where I actually said, hey, I'm getting tired for climbing the stairs, like 10 stairs. How is that possible? Oh my goodness. I put a lot of pressure on me. I was self-pressuring myself, which was not okay. But at least I took action in this direction in a way that now brought me into a better shape. So I'm happy for that. So, yeah, this is one of the ways through which you can assess yourself. Do you have difficulties or get tired in carrying groceries or climbing stairs or lifting objects, etc.? If this is the case, well, you should be starting working towards that goal. Assessing your fitness level is about being able to identify the weak points in your body and working actively towards them. Here there is the definition that I'm just giving right now because, yeah, I've been talking for a while and I felt like it. Yeah, evaluate your endurance. Well, that's linked to the previous point. You need to think about activities that require sustained effort over time, like walking, jogging, cycling. That's a bit more like endurance is not the same as just like getting tired from doing a couple of seconds of intense activity. But endurance is also an indicator for you to see that maybe if it's not your strong point and you want to get better physically all over the place, all over your body, well, that's maybe something that you are interested in exploring. You need to assess how long you can engage in these activities comfortably without feeling overly tired or out of breath. So yeah, that's super important, I think. Other points are checking for flexibility and considering your energy levels. Like this is also linked to the previous ones. You always want to put your body in different situations to see how it reacts, and if it reacts not as fast as you think it would react before, well, actually maybe you can have some improvement in that area. For some people, flexibility is one of the points that they want to work on, and I know I like flexibility exercises myself because it's pretty close to yoga mindset, and for me being flexible is a form of being athletic, and I think it's important to do that. So, in regards to flexibility, you need to pay attention to your range of motion and flexibility by performing simple stretches or movements. And with age, flexibility is going to diminish. And here is where I recommend for people mid-age or above to try to do more exercises around this area, because flexibility can only help you feel better in your body. So notice how you feel, and if you feel tightness or discomfort in certain areas of your body, because this could indicate areas where you need to improve flexibility in general. And yeah, that might be part of your personalized program too, or your program in general. Maybe you are interested in searching more information about that. I know I followed along a lot of videos and courses online on YouTube with respect to that, and they helped me in a certain measure. But as I say, I prefer being accountable and paying for a course just because it makes me more responsible of needing to follow it. And the last point here, but not the least, consider your energy levels overall. And you need to think about your energy levels throughout the day and how they affect your ability to be active. Do you always feel the need to sit on the couch, or do you want to get out and live life and engage in activities, wander around and just like feel yourself free as a bird? And so you need to be active normally, and you need to also, when assessing your level, to notice if you feel consistently tired or lethargic, as I said, as this could be a sign that you need to focus on improving your fitness and overall health in general. And I cannot emphasize on this idea of improving your fitness overall. Whenever you are going to work towards one of these goals that I just explained right now, where you identified have weak points, you are always going to improve your overall mood. And once again, assessing your fitness level is not about comparing yourself with others and achieving super high standard fitness goals. It's about understanding where you are currently and identifying areas where you can improve. And so everyone should do that. I think that's a great thing that everyone should do at whatever stage they are in their program. By listening to your body, you can develop a clearer picture of your fitness level and take steps to enhance your overall health and well-being. And I think everyone can improve their life in this area, especially with our modern life where things are not always obvious, where we have a lot of responsibilities, we have a lot of pressure. Fitness can help you in so many ways, physical being just one of them. So yeah, maybe I'll create a new a presentation on why do you need to train. Like, I think it's obvious, but apparently it's not. Like, not everyone wants to train because they are not able, like, or they don't desire to put in the work. But some of them don't know that sports is so useful. So maybe here is where I could come in, because my goal with this channel is to bring more information to the public about different areas, having a better sports mindset or fitness mindset, fitness, nutrition, and in general overall being. Like, this is my desire, and the things that I have discovered on my own body, I think, are things that helped me grow as a person, made me better in my life in general, and I really want to share that with you as well. So just before finishing, I have just one more slide here. As you can see, I really enjoy talking with slides that support visually the ideas that I have. And so the last thing that I want to share with you here is about the benefits of self-assessment in general. Like, I think I already discussed about that, but here let us focus a bit more on the good things that happen once you are able to self-assess yourself, and once you are able to identify the things that you want to work on, so that you are a better version of yourself. And the first thing is personalized goal setting. So when you understand your current fitness level through self-assessment, you can set goals that are tailored to your abilities and aspirations. So whenever you are able to estimate the amount of fitness, like the fitness level that you are in, you are able to estimate better what types of goals you should have next. You might have goals that span over 10 years, like in 10 years time I want to be there. But I would encourage having a bit more smaller goals, just because I think they're useful also to stay on track easier and be more accountable. And so when you understand, as I said, your current fitness level, it will help you actually have a better understanding about the feelings that you have, and it prevents feelings of frustration in general or discouragement that may arise from setting unrealistic expectations. So that's a very important topic, and yeah, I think that's something that uh, can definitely make an impact on people's directions with respect to fitness. Another thing is related to progress recognition. So, regularly assessing your fitness, as I said before, allows you to track your progress over time, and this is one of the benefits of self assessment. Mind body connection, that's something that I am very fond of. So, being able to self assess fosters a deep connection between your mind and your body. You are able to better feel your muscles and how to push them, how much to push them, and to get more pleasure out of doing an exercise because you did it with a connection that actually was great. So tuning into how your body feels during exercise and identifying areas of strength and weaknesses, you become more attuned to your physical capabilities and limitations. That's why connection to mind body is something that comes with time and with experience, I have the impression, but it's something that will last with you forever, and it will help you better assess and better estimate how much energy you have left in the tank at the end of the set, for example. Not to mention the fact that being able to self assess yourself correctly increases your confidence level, because if you understand your confidence levels, this will empower you to approach workouts with confidence in general. Instead of feeling uncertain or anxious about particular exercises or particular fitness routines, you can trust in your abilities and focus on challenging yourself in a safe and effective manner. So, yeah, being able to self assess yourself is not easy at the beginning, but you will be doing that better and better with practice. And I think this will help you increase your confidence in being more comfortable with some exercises or some exercises types without actually doubting yourself too much. Adaptability and resilience. So this is about encouraging adaptability in the face of setbacks. So if you encounter obstacles or plateaus, for example, in your fitness journey, on your assessment findings, you can adjust your approach. So you are going to be able, based on identified obstacles, to allow yourself to overcome challenges and continuing progressing, because whenever you are aware of some inconsistencies or weakness, you are going to better identify it and better react to it in a way that can improve that particular area. There are two more points here that I want to focus on. Ownership of progress. So taking responsibility for assessing your fitness levels instills a sense of ownership over your progress. So rather than relying solely on external measures of success, such as a scale, weight, or body measurements, you recognize that your efforts and commitment play a crucial role in achieving your goals. And if you feel them, and if you are happy with those efforts and with the results based on those efforts, well, that's the most important at the end of the day, right? I take fitness as a form of spending time enjoying yourself in a sort of a self-care situation. And I think people should do that more often, because otherwise it just becomes a sort of a chore, and no one enjoys a chore unless they are spending a good time while doing it, such as maybe listening to music or just having fun in a sort of a way, right? So don't transform your fitness into a chore. Try to keep it as dynamic and fun as possible, and take ownership of the progress that will come from that routine, because you will see it. It's guaranteed you will see it. You won't see it if it's not done correctly, but this is not something that I can talk in a general manner about. So yeah, that's why you need to self-assess yourself, and that's why I'm also assessing my clients at the beginning of their programs, because um, it's a way for me to find what their current fitness level is and what types of exercises they would enjoy doing, so that not only would benefit them spending good quality time while doing those exercises, but also would benefit all the weaknesses that they want to address or all the goals that they have. And last but not the least, once again, reduce the risk of injury. This time I put it in bold just because I think it's so important. Like, that's the most important reason why you would like to self-assess yourself. People tend to push themselves too much when they don't know what their current fitness level is. And sometimes this can trigger a lot of injuries, and we don't want that at all, because you might afterwards not be able to completely recover, or just because you might be scared of putting in the time and effort of doing an exercise that might bring you to a sort of injury. And just be aware of the fact that this is not the case. If sports practiced correctly, and there is no pressure on your muscles, there is no strain, and you know to evaluate your level, your paying attention to how your body is feeling and reacts to different sorts of stressors or activities. Well, if you're doing this correctly and you know how to assess yourself, normally these problems should not appear. And once again, if you're not like 100% sure, I would recommend you take a easier exercise that you can do without any problem, rather than pushing yourself too much. Just because, as any sort of activity, your body needs a sort of a warm-up, and that warm-up is not happening just at the beginning of each session. It happens over weeks at a time, just to get into the mood of mastering that particular exercise. So yeah, by regularly evaluating your fitness level, as I said, you can identify potential weaknesses and balances that may increase your risk of level. And this proactive approach will allow you to address these issues and modify your workouts to prioritize safety and, of course, minimize the likelihood of exercise-related injuries. So yeah, I feel like I repeated myself in some of the points, but I think repetition is a good thing for people to get the main ideas right. And I'm hoping that with this presentation you are going to actually apply these tips on your case and see what sort of fitness level you have, and if you were able to estimate it correctly. It's super important to do it at the beginning of any sort of routine. I cannot emphasize it enough. So what I would like maybe for you to do, if you're viewing this in record, leave me a comment about how the fitness assessment in your case went. As always, I'm super excited to have had the occasion to talk to you about this point. And so yeah, let's meet next time when I will be presenting another interesting subject. So stay tuned. Cheers.